Good evening. Welcome. Glad to see you all here. And I certainly appreciate everyone who's online observing our meeting tonight. This is a City Council special meeting, basically a continuation from our meeting last Monday, January 13, 2025. So, Charlie, would you like to give us invocation?
Sure. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this night. We thank you that we live in a free country where we can gather and discuss the needs and desires and vision of our city. Lord, we pray for those that are around the globe tonight protecting those freedoms. We pray for our first responders who intercede for somebody every day, several times a day, Lord. We thank you for our blessings. Tonight I ask that you would just watch over the proceedings. Lord, help everything that's done and said be honorable to you, and just be with our council and give them wisdom and discernment as they make these decisions. All these things we ask in the name of Jesus.
Thank you. Speedy, you want to lead the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Stephanie, would you, so I called the meeting to order. Stephanie, would you give roll call?
Mayor Nina Rodenroth.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Christine Thompson.
Here.
Councilman Tony Brown.
Here.
Councilman Elston Kussler.
Here.
Councilman Dan Lewandowski.
Here.
All present, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments have been presented.
Okay, excellent. We appreciate you all being here tonight. Hope you enjoy the meeting. Okay, so moving on to action items. The first item is the strategic planning facilitator. For those of you who don't know, we're in the process of conducting strategic planning for the city, like looking at our, pretty much looking at our brand, looking at our vision statement, our mission statement, kind of what are the things that we think the community wants us to focus on. So we're just in the early days of that planning. We've had, I think, 1 or 2 workshops to talk about it, and again, all these things are public, and so I invite any of you to attend. But we're looking at a facilitator who would help us kind of stay on task. Someone who's a third party, not connected to the city, but at the state level, very connected to municipality governments. Very experienced gentleman. And anyway, this is to look at his contract and what that would be as far as us conducting it with him, with his assistance. Have you guys reviewed the contract? Any questions or comments about it?
I did have some, and I want to say thank you to our city manager. He did a lot of work running down a bunch of my questions, and and this has been updated as of today.
Yeah.
With new information. So thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate that.
Any other comments? Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thanks, guys.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
would you like to select your times on those dates and times now, or save that to my comments at the end and pull out your calendars?
Yeah, let's save it to the end.
Okay.
Because we'll probably look at a couple of things like that.
Okay.
Thank you. Next item is City Hall furniture, council room refresh. A few months ago, and this is due to some input from people who attend our meetings, the meeting room here is really, it's kind of crowded. A lot of the furnishings is outdated. We're trying to look for something a little more inviting atmosphere to have our meetings at. This room is used for a lot of different things, everything from workshops to our council meetings. The elections are held in this room. So we need a room that's relatively versatile and easy to put together and take apart, for the needs for what we have here in Keystone Heights. So over the last couple months, we've looked at some ideas, and it's basically going to be pretty simple. versus creating a whole new building. So it's simply going to be paint refresh with artwork that's going to be representative of our history here, trying to keep it somewhat nostalgic feeling, but furnishings that are more modern and more, I guess, they're more compact, I think, but they're more versatile. So they can convert like a setup like this into individual tables or to a big conference table. The chairs are going to be a lot more comfortable. We've had a lot of complaints about the chairs, and people sit in for about an hour or so, and it's pretty rough. So that's what this is about, is for us to look at those details on the quote that we have, like I say, it's been a couple months now working on this, and to decide if we want to move forward with this furniture plan. And you see here a presentation, and I don't know, Charlie, or can you kind of go through that a bit on some of
Sure.
those details?
So if you could put that first pictorial slide up, there's basically just 3 views of this room. You double click on, yeah, there you go. So if you're facing, as the audience facing forward, that's 40 much more comfortable padded chairs. That's a dais up here that matches the side table. That side table, there's 3 portions here. They're 4 foot long. Those are 3 foot long, so our deal would kind of end here where you could come through here without banging me and the attorney, and have a little more room. And then the place in the back where our audiovisual guys are also matches, and it's just one panel. And if you go to the next slide, you can see it from a different angle.
We're messing with the volume. Sorry, I don't know if all y'all can hear that tweeny noise, but I'm trying to make it stop.
Could y'all advance to the next slide, please? There you go. So if you're the council looking out, that's kind of the view you would have.
So you're not going to have a podium?
Yes, no, we'll still have a podium.
Okay.
Absolutely. The chairs, though, are flex back and flex bottom. So they're, and I've had several people sit in them and try them out just to see what they thought, and I got really good positive response. But they're also stackable, which is great in our kind of, for our needs, and very attractive to look at. So the coloring that you see is really kind of working with the floors that are beautiful terrazzo, the grays and creams and black. And the plan would be to paint these 2 walls, a blue that's in the city seal, okay? Not that shade of blue, but that complements our existing shades. And then these 2 walls would be like a misty gray. And we have artwork that we're going to reframe to make it match nicer. Additional artwork, and we'll get some suggestions from Heritage Commission that I think is applicable for our room. But basically back here, the city seal, the flags, giving it a little more professional look. And then we will, like I say, the floor space, I think we got, what, 32 chairs or so in here right now?
Sure.
And the new layout, the new setup is going to allow for almost
40.
40 or more chairs easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any consideration of some acoustic treatment?
Great question. I agree with you 100% on that. We recognize that as a serious problem. I don't, for the folks, and I do go back and watch our meetings, mainly because I like to watch my body language. But I do it to recapture comments and things. And I don't like that our camera hits our tops of our heads. And also the echoing in this room is horrible. So Charlie, they are looking into that as another aspect of this. Whether we use little padded things on the walls that absorb it, maybe. We're trying to look at a most inexpensive option for that. But that's a great question.
Yes, sir. So, and ma'am, basically the council room refresh is in roughly 3 major chunks as I see it. The furniture has exact prices and quantities. That's what's before you tonight. As you know, we've had a painter come in to kind of assess and pick out with the color patches and all that. And you were there, and none of the rest of the council they were all appreciative, let's put it that way, that they didn't have to pick out colors. Didn't hear anybody jumping up and down to do that. So it'll still be kind of white, blue, gray. And then the third piece, I've got to get some people that know a lot more about AV equipment, microphones, cameras. Those, I've been told by our IT folks, can't be just vertically cast down another 12 or 18 inches. So we need to look at that whole package and maybe getting some portable microphones to the tune of about 10, so when the supervisor of elections bumps us to the pavilion, things can be recorded if y'all want to sit and have a workshop. That's really nice and cozy the way we did it the last time, but you can't hear anything if you just put one mic in the middle of the table.
Right.
You go try to watch it later, it's really hard. So those are the three pieces, and I've got one kind of settled if you guys approve it tonight.
John, any questions?
I totally agree with Mr. Welch, right? Yes, I totally agree with you. That's of utmost importance, because the people that can't come to these meetings,
Yeah.
they're watching it at home on YouTube and can't hear anything and can't see any visuals. And that's, I mean, apart from all the pretty stuff,
Right.
that's the most important, is the audio and the visuals, so that they can see exactly what's going on up
I
here.
think if you want to invite the community to be involved, you
Yes.
have to be able to hear and understand, and after about one attempt at that, you give up.
I
Right.
get it.
Get
I totally
frustrated.
get it, and I agree.
I would ask one thing, this crescent shape I really like because it allows me to see my fellow council members much more easily. If we're in a straight line, it's gonna be really difficult to see down the line and see their faces.
So the way this is set up, it looks to me like they can be shaped like that, corner to corner. And I know we talked about that. So it's not just a straight, a lot of folks do it as a straight line. I've seen several examples in different city halls that I've actually looked into. But from what I can, this furniture is like separate. It's not like it's all one piece. It's mobile.
Yeah.
Just a request.
Yes, sir.
if we
No,
could do that.
I agree with you on that. I think too, though, if we had, because I like to look at you as well, but then we got to drag that microphone around with us when we do, because if I turn away from that, then they can't hear me. So the portable microphone solves several things, I think.
For some reason, my voice is always picked up.
Yes, sir, I suffer from that too. So, and this is kind of the fourth look. Different groups want to come in, have workshops, safety net meetings. Our sheriff's office, because of our low number of staff in the building, used to actually occupy one of the offices. As you know, they're all full. So this could be a place for them to come during the day, write reports, et cetera. So those tables are 30 inches wide and 60 inches long, and the table drops horizontally. So all those can just roll up against the wall, or if we need to bring in more chairs, they can roll down the hall and in the storage room when they're not in use. And when we need them, we can set up the meetings for varying amounts of people to sit and actually see each other and converse.
The other part too was for the office. In the current conference room, you were changing that a little bit, so you can give up your office. I think you were talking about for
Yes, ma'am.
2 offices or something like that.
I didn't include those pictures. I have to find a workstation for each person. As you know, Ms.
Right.
Bell's sitting under a cabinet. If
Right.
anybody taller than you or her stood up, they hit their head. And so my plan is to fix those. What it would take to do that would be under my $10,000 threshold. So how much ever discussion or time this takes is fine. I'm not rushing anybody. But I need to go ahead and get those
Yeah.
fixed.
I mean, I think it's a good plan what you came up with that space. Yeah, Tony.
Even though I'm the youngest, I'm the old fuddy-duddy here. I personally don't see anything wrong with what we got. I mean, we've spent quite a bit of money 7 years ago for all the furniture in the city hall. For this was basically materials only because it was done by a prisoner. I just have a little heartburn spending that kind of money because I'm looking at, I don't know how, this is what, $10,000 for this room? We got a couple different prices here. The total price I see that's on your paperwork is $43,776.80 is what you
Yep.
got down for the impact.
Yep, yes, sir. That includes everything that you saw here and redoing.
And redoing the office space.
Office spaces and making 3 workstations where there's currently really just 1.
And there's no way of changing your workspace with what you got in the way of the desk, like up front or anything like that. I know you showed me this a couple of weeks ago, but after thinking about it, we're talking a lot of money for just inside. I mean, that's just me.
I agree with that.
And I just, with the microphones, when I started, we had these big old things sitting here. Then we went to the mic propel thing like the preachers all use. That worked, and then we went to something else, and then we got this.
What year was that?
Oh, Lord. It was all jumped around. With 95, well, before 95, you had the big ones. And they had a big old cast iron looking holder on them. I mean, they were old. And then those weren't working. The system's been changed a couple times since I've been here, but and actually this is the best we've ever had. I mean, we had the propels, but they didn't always work because you forget to turn them on or whatever. So, but it looks good. I have heartburn spending that kind of money, and I don't know the $43,000, that's a lot of money.
Well,
Plus,
that is a lot of money, and I don't remember we had a discussion about sprucing up this, and that was back in February. And that was a long meeting too. But we had a long talk we touched on sprucing up this room, getting, paint, and it was supposed to be like $1,600, $1,600 to $2,000, something like that. And then all of a sudden, we're getting new furniture everywhere and putting up walls, and we didn't vote on this. And I mean, if spending $43,000, we should have put that up for bid. We should have had a competitive bid put up.
There was.
Oh, I
Of
don't
sorts.
remember that.
So Rich can explain more to that. The company that did this design, this went out, this is coming off the Omnia contract that went out nationwide. And so there's school districts in Florida, and again, you hired a former school superintendent, so I'm dealing with quantities I know and outcomes that I can be assured of. And so all this was competitively bid, and all the things you're seeing that total $43,000 have been competitively bid, and extensions. I'm going to stop talking now because that's about as intelligently as I can say it, and Rich can say it a little more.
So we asked the vendor to provide us the background for the original RFP, which went out in 2019. It went out in Texas, and it looks like the contract that it was awarded is really kind of a conglomeration of different vendors. The one thing that I mentioned to our city manager that I kind of have a difficulty trying to reconcile is there's no prices. The prices actually just say that you'll get a certain percentage discount moving forward. So at this point, it's the will of the council as to whether you want to use the process that was done 6 years ago or whether or not you want to put it out for bid, or I think we need to know what you want to do first.
Well, I just want clarification, because the initial meeting in February that we had talking about this only included this room. It didn't include the rest of City Hall. And $43,000 for just one room? Or how much would it be for just this one room?
Yeah,
I just think that's a lot of money.
the $43,000 is not just for this room.
It's for the whole thing.
I think the chairs were $15,000 plus a little more for the ones on the sides.
Well, we just got these chairs, and I'm happy with these chairs, but I
Well, it's not
think,
these chairs, it's for the audience chairs.
how much are those chairs a piece? They're like $300, almost $400, right? Wow. And I think that's too much money for a chair. I think that's way too much, even if they stack, those stack too.
I'm sorry to interrupt, has anybody looked into reupholstering these chairs?
It's not the upholstery. It's the chair, structure
Well,
of the
those
chair.
don't look much different, I mean, and these.
No, they're
are
actually
chairs
quite, they are
that-
actually quite different. They are. I don't know if we still have one that's sitting around or not, that they took it back. It's quite different.
We do have one. and
Do you
I
have
can
it?
Grab it if you would like.
Yeah.
I
please
would
do.
like to see it. I
It's
hadn't
a-
seen it,
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
but I think still,
I
I would
think it
never
was
pay
here, and I
that
think I
much.
asked you all to check it out about a month or two ago, whenever. But I know the Heritage Commission all looked at it.
Madam Vice Mayor, I apologize. I thought that, I had that chair in my office for a long time, and I thought each of you had sat in it and kind of gone through
This is the first I've heard of.
the
I mean,
furniture.
I've seen a picture of them. That's all I've seen.
Okay. Did anybody else on the council not see this furniture? Not these drawings, but
The chair.
drawings and have a conversation with me? I thought I'd prepped everybody.
I saw it and I had a negative comment and I was kind of shushed. So I'm quiet.
Don't be quiet now. We're up here. We need to talk about
So,
this.
Yeah, that's what these meetings are for. If
That's
you have an
exactly-
issue,
that's
you're
right.
sitting up there.
That's
why
right.
it's over here.
So how is that
so,
better to sit on?
so
That's
go,
wood.
go sit,
gosh.
so
I'm
go
not-
sit in that chair.
I would like to go sit in it.
Go ahead. I want each one of you to go sit in it.
Because I think it was.
You are not gonna fall backwards, let me tell you.
And we'll all watch.
This would not, I would not like this.
You do match the chair very well.
She does.
I didn't even see her.
I have no idea. I have no idea, but yeah, no.
Can you tell how it rocks back and forth, the back and the seat?
Yeah, I would know. I don't like it. I'm just being honest.
So what,
It's
why
not
not,
comfortable to sit in.
go sit in it, Speedy. Tell me what you think. You already did.
I
What do you
sat
think
in it
about
the other day not knowing that's what, I mean, I knew it was there, but I didn't know it was going to go into council.
Would somebody from the dais like to come and sit and give, please,
Sit in.
please do.
Just tell us what you
I want to
think.
tell you something, I used to work for a chair company,
Oh, yeah.
and that was the 80s.
Yeah.
it
I
is.
get it. I get it, but
That was
that's,
the 80s, and.
That's
those are.
Honestly, we're not in here that long, but you're talking about long conventions and long, or,
Well, if you're sitting in it for more than 2 hours, you're kind of
that I
nervous.
was just gonna say.
And we've had a few of those.
It was just nice and relaxed.
It's actually a very comfortable chair, I think, in my opinion.
It is, but, and because people are larger than they used to be, it fits nicely.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the only one.
Yeah.
does
ask
anybody?
Any of the
Yes,
gentlemen.
please do, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
You tell us what you think.
Can't imagine it being any more comfortable than being padded at all. Some padding's better than none.
Well, the
That's what I
padding,
think, too.
The version
the
of
padding,
it that I'm proposing does have padding on it.
Yeah.
That's just a chair.
And it was-
That's just a
I think
prototype.
the padding was another, what, 2,000 or something to have it padded, something like that, for all of them.
So maybe a paint job and chairs.
I like the fact that it's taller, but I don't see much longevity in sitting in something like that.
I don't know what kind of guarantees they had.
Thank you.
Charlie. I don't know. They're pretty, so the nice thing about that solid surface is
Should we
the
play some music and stop?
maintenance, the maintenance of it.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah, there's no padding. And like you said, we're not in here this long. We don't occupy the chairs that long. And most of and we're so happy to see you guys out on this bad weather night tonight. We're so happy to have you. I love it when we have people in here and listen to us and get involved. But yeah, you're not going to be sitting there for 2 hours
So these would be the chairs that
that
the
you'd be sitting.
police folks and others would be using for their temporary offices, so.
Yeah, this would be for the audience to sit in, or when we have workshops and we have the chairs put together. They're pretty versatile for what we could use them for. They're lightweight, they're easy to.
I think the audience chairs should be way more comfortable than the couches.
So to me, the most comfortable is the kind you see.
I agree, especially if you got to sit and listen to us for 2 hours.
I mean, the ideal ones to me would have armrest and padded, like a theater, almost like a theater chair. That's what you see in some city halls, but the budget for that is like ridiculous. So all we're trying to do, heard several complaints about them, even including my husband, who's not so terribly picky. After sitting there for over 2 hours, it's not a comfortable chair. And you know, these are very ergonomic. I'm sure there's been a lot of research on the comfort of them over time and versatile, different people who sit,
You
just like
know,
you mentioned.
I have to go to the chiropractor every so often. I sat in one for an hour and a half on purpose, in that one, at the conference table, and I was fine. That is not the case with that one, and this is your council room, so literally, there is no pressure either way. My obligation as a city manager is to provide a decent workstation
Yeah.
for all the employees, and I intend to do that, and I'll keep that within my cost. But whatever you guys would like to do is at the will of the council in this room.
I have a question. What's the reason for the tilting business on that?
To allow you to rock, everybody rocks.
So you're
Well,
not
boys
sitting
do anyway. My
still.
boys
So
will
you're
break a
not
chair that
sitting
doesn't
like
rock.
this the whole time.
And everybody was going like this, that would be, serious, everybody's rocking, I start,
Getting restless.
no, no. I think that's honestly, that in my opinion, this is my opinion, I think that's silly.
Is there a less expensive model?
There are all kinds of price ranges. And Madam Mayor, excuse me, do you want me to take questions from the audience and them to speak without being at the microphone? Because now we're back to people not really being able to hear the conversation. And it's really up to the council to discuss unless there's public comment on this item you want to call people up for.
I mean, I think we've gotten some good input, and we appreciate that input. Maybe what we ought to do is, so these chairs were, list price is $679 each, and they were discounted to $391, and that's without the upholstery. If we added the upholstery, it was another $2,000. We can keep those chairs. They certainly match. They would work fine, and just not change the chairs.
Now, I see some worn from right here. I see some wear marks from right here.
Well, they've been around for a while. I mean, the other option is you go to a big warehouse sale and try to find 40 that all look alike and they look in decent condition.
You get what
You know,
you
we're
pay
looking for
for.
something that can take us to the point of maybe 10 years down the road where we have a brand new meeting room, a brand new city hall at some point in time down the future. We're just trying to make it feel more comfortable, more inviting. The sound challenges, some of those, a fresh up, just like, you know, a lot of things haven't been done in this room in a long time. And the furniture is just, we were initially looking at chairs, and I mean, I was looking at like the big warehouse things like what you're talking about, where you can get them pretty cheap because people sell stuff like that all the time. But trying to find that many that match, that look nice, you know, something somebody wants to sit in. Personally, I don't prefer the upholstery because it's harder for maintenance. Over time, all these different people sitting in them, you know, it's better to have something you can wipe the surface. if you
That's
can do
why
it.
I asked if it was looked into reupholstering these, because they can be recovered with.
That would be
vinyl,
quite
which is
expensive, I can tell you that right now.
But,
I just looked into 2 chairs, I can tell you, it'd be fortunate, a lot of money.
Well, this is my opinion. I like the desk, how it can multi-use, update everything. I like the chairs. You already got chairs at the pavilion that are breaking. I took some outside.
Those chairs are
You get
terrible.
what you pay. We had the same thing with my church. You get what you pay for.
Right, and these
You
chairs
get
could, the
a
new
bunch of
ones
people
could be
using them.
used over there for that, for around those
Right. You
tables.
get a bunch of people using them, and they're gonna break.
Yeah.
And then if they break, then we got a problem.
Are we talking just strictly for the council room, or are we also
No, you're
talking
talking about everything.
for everything? So let somebody explain what we're doing in the staffing area.
I'm going to take care of the staff in the staffing area and put workstations in under my bid limit. I did not calculate out the desk and chairs and table in there separate from this. And at this late point in the game, this is all very specific. I don't want to sit here and circle those things and try to add them up and tell you a wrong number on record. Everybody's had over a week to study this. I have obligations and a spending limit you gave me, so I will take care of that, and we can go at whatever pace with whatever things you want to do to refresh the council room.
So what is our limit on what he can spend? I know we changed it,
It's 25,000, I think.
It's 10,000.
Is it 10?
10,000.
Yes, ma'am, and between 10 and 20, we have to get 3 quotes on something, and
Okay.
over
I
20,
was
we
trying
have
to
to go to
remember. I
a
knew we raised
RFP. Unless we go to something that's already been out for a competitive bid, which I was assured this had, and I think the attorney agrees, but there's differing ways all that happens.
Okay. I got another heartburn, and unfortunately it was on Facebook. Is there anybody in your family that works for this company? Because to me, that's a conflict. It might not be, would it be a conflict if somebody,
I don't have a vote. I used to
I know
work for
that.
this company. My wife currently works for this company on salary as an interior designer.
okay,
We can go to any company you guys specify. Her salary does not change by how much this company sells. Now, back in the day when I was on the school board, my dad was doing architecture. He just stopped putting in on that. Valancourt Construction had a school board member on the board. She would recuse herself from those votes. So this really isn't about me. This is about what the council wants to do in the council room.
well,
Maybe I'm losing my mind. I thought who did I tell my wife worked here?
You tell me.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I
No,
knew.
I
Well,
just-
I mean, because we went over some of the layout and just to confirm
I guess I'm gonna have to start
details.
keeping a checklist every time I talk to
it's
one
not
of you
that,
guys while we're
Charlie.
covering.
Charlie, it's not that. It's the point of, we represent the people of this city, and if we try to do something like $40-something thousand and we don't go out for bid, that's a problem. If you're gonna do it to stay under the umbrella, okay, but on the other part that I just brought up, if people are, I've already gotten hit up about that it was on Facebook. And then you got this is on the agenda with the name of the company and everything. And that's the only reason I brought it up. And I need to know if that's going to, from our legal standpoint, is that a problem? If we were to do business with this company, is that going to be a problem?
That's a question for Mr. Commando.
So it sounds like you have more of an appearance problem than an actual conflict problem. When you go
Okay.
through conflict, analysis, it looks at whether or not it was competitively bid, which this would be kind of piggybacking off of another contract, so it's not competitively bid by us. But that does cure the conflict. The second tier of the analysis is how much direct, they call it pecuniary benefit, would the individual get? So as long as there's no bonus structure that would inure to the benefit of a family member, then no, that's not a problem. And then the third tier of the analysis is whether or not there's more than 5% ownership in the corporation, which this is a large corporation. I don't think that's the case.
No.
But I mean, this is the first city manager. I didn't talk about any family members living there, so I probably want to dig a little deeper. But at first blush, there doesn't seem to be a problem with it, legal problem with it. Now, perception, if you want to do something to kind of clear that air, then that's, again, that's your discretion.
So when I worked at the Pentagon, the rule was if whatever you're doing showed up on the front page of the local paper in Washington, D.C., how would that be perceived? And that would guide us. Even if it wasn't illegal, perceptions are so important. And so my recommendation, and this kicks the can down the road, and I hate to do that. I love to make decisions and move on. But is give us 3 options. Don't give us just one option. Because then we're kind of boxed into a corner. You know, let us have an actual choice. This chair and 2 others, or this chair, the one we currently have, and a 3rd option. And then let us try to make a decision based on that. That would be my suggestion.
I like your suggestion. Especially since, I mean, we originally talked about it back in February, just this room. So I'm good with the room. I don't know about everything else in, in City Hall, but this room, it needs some sprucing. I mean, we could use, I would like to see different chairs, but not that one.
Yeah, if we do 40 chairs at $391 a piece, plus $2,000 to get them cushioned, we're talking about $17,640. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for chairs.
Relatively limited use. We got a street sweeper I've never seen leave the yard in this town.
Okay, so what do y'all want to do?
I don't know that we need a motion for this, but may I recommend that we table this until the next meeting?
Well, are you giving consensus direction based on what you said?
Direction to provide us with 3 options at that meeting, please.
So today, Mr. Commando shot me the name of 3 companies on state bid list.
Yeah, so those were just companies that, when I worked for the state attorney's office and Guardian Ad Litem, which are statewide organizations, we had to use people that were on the state contract, so.
That sounds like a great option.
And
Right, but you're wanting to see 3 different individual chairs versus
I think
three prices that reflect the same chairs, tables, etc.
Yeah. It
3
sounds like-
prices with some pictures and some descriptions, not just a dollar figure with nothing else. Give us a little bit more information.
So basically, the 3 options like he's talking to with, say, this room, and we could look at the space you're talking about, because we're going to have to probably talk about that as well, including the chairs, the tables, the setup, the exact setup we're talking about. Essentially, what 3 other quotes would look like for the same items. Right?
I would like to separate those 2 things.
No, you can pull them aside, but if they're going to do it, they can do it all at one time, and we can pull out the part that's over there and look at that price. I mean, it's a separate price. It's not hard to say, okay, these 2 tables and these 4 chairs are the offices. The rest of it is this.
I'd like to give the city manager the freedom, as long as it's less than $10,000, to organize that area however he wants and stay out of that. And just let us worry about this room.
Okay.
That's what my preference would be.
Because you were looking at the same vendor, right?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what I thought. Yeah, that's why I was mentioning
And if
that.
we're gonna pay that much money for furniture, then we absolutely need a new audio and visual system.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely, because the people, like I said before, they can't see or hear us or get a good vision of what's going on up here on YouTube.
So the furniture
Very important.
is a piece we have concrete numbers on, and we'll get more. The AV, we don't have yet. The paint, I'm expecting a quote, and the painter's already been in here. So like I said, there's 3 different portions. And if I could just give my perspective, Mr. Commando's summation of the conflict thing, Mr. Brown, is exactly what I remembered. So I'm unapologetic for that, other than I thought I had told all you guys the same thing. But I knew it wasn't a conflict, and it truly isn't. If it's on the front page of the Monitor, then maybe we just want to go with 3 different companies and not this one at all. And just from my background and perspective, which I was very upfront when I interviewed with this panel, at least 4 of you, I built 14 schools in 14 years, and never did the legislative end of that branch of government pick out a stick of furniture to include their own meeting room. So it's okay. This is a small hometown deal. If we're going to have people from the audience come sit in the chair, I've just never seen it done. Did not contemplate
think
it
it's awesome.
rolling out that way tonight, and that's fine if that's the way we want to do it. I just had spent usually 10 to 15% of a new building is furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So if this building's worth $1 million, I don't know if it is or not, then we'd be talking, so that is just a figure. So I apologize if I added to the confusion tonight. I thought I brought something that was reasonable, and we can certainly go back and find some other reasonable things.
My thing is the money has a lot to do with it, because we just, probably 7 years ago, when Cornegay first came, his first year, he did all of this, well, not this, but all that and everything behind there, the flooring, the painting and everything back there was done around 7 years ago when he first came in as manager. And I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, but I mean, I was here when we were dealing with stuff that we still had from the 60s.
So when Scott was here, how many employees did he have? Do you remember?
The same number.
How many?
Maybe
Four?
a couple less.
4, 6, 5, what was it?
I'd have to
10,
go around and
4.
count, but
Because I mean, the last round, I think we had 4, maybe 5 max, sometimes only 2. We have 6 full-time employees now in this building.
So are you talking full-time or are you talking
Full-time.
full-time and part-time?
No, I'm talking about full-time right now,
So
6.
One of the things that changed is when, I mean, we now have a manager and a clerk, which we did have under Mr. Cornegay. But then at a point where we only had Lynn started using one of the offices for the sheriff's office. So I mean, we converted an office that way.
Mhm. And right now, they don't really have an office to use.
True, but they get all the money. We get $0 to support the sheriff. Then they're supposed to establish an outpost here, whatever it's called,
Substation.
substation, that's
No,
it.
they're not, that's never been planned.
But they have all the
It's
money.
been discussed. The reason why they would need, to have a true substation, they would need a holding cell, and that was something that was really kind of the
Plus,
stopping
yeah.
point.
Plus it'd be quite expensive for us to be able to have that.
Well, we don't get any money for the sheriff's duties. They have the entire budget,
Mhm.
and they have to include us and our needs in their budget.
That's correct.
And right now, they don't give us a dime to use office space or for a holding cell or for anything. It's out of the goodness of our heart that we give them free use of stuff here. And we like them. Why wouldn't we? But they are owed nothing. They don't get anything because we don't get a dime to support them.
One of the
Councilman,
big
just-
reasons that we have let them use the city hall is when you have that much gear on, you don't want to go to the gas station and pull it off.
Oh, I
And they can
know.
come in here, and if they have to use the restroom, they can safely take off their gun belts and stuff like that. So,
Right, I'm not saying we shouldn't be kind to them. We should be kind to them and help them in every way we can. But when it comes to spending money to support them, I think they should pony up some money. If they want us to give them some office space, I think they ought to give us some compensation for it. It just makes sense.
right now, we don't have any office space.
I know, so it's
don't-
difficult. It's a difficult situation.
And just for institutional knowledge, some of the discussion with the sheriff's office was, we were and periodically have problems with vandalism. Having the police presence was a greater benefit to us than the cost of what the office space was. So there's oftentimes a complaint that we didn't have someone on patrol here. Having the space here was encouraging that cooperation. With the sheriff's net, having the ability to do the walks and walk through the community, having the sheriff's office presence here, that presence was what the benefit to the city was, as opposed to some financial.
Yeah. And there's a benefit to that, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I
okay.
have one more question, Mayor, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
You're wanting to go to like a darker color? And, huh?
She's wanting to do the darker color in the back with lighter.
No, I mean the
colors.
furniture, like
Oh, okay,
the
I
dais,
apologize.
the
I
dais
thought
right there, it
the
looks
walls.
kind of charcoal gray to me.
It's grays and blacks, yes, charcoaly looking, to pick up, so it contrasts nicely with the terrazzo floors.
Just, I'm just asking,
Mhm.
could you take this and put a sand on it to get the shellac off of it and paint this thing that color? Would it?
It'd still be a conglomerate. It'd still be bulky, take up space, looks dated, you know, the whole thing, yeah, you could paint anything.
It's not that old.
Well, it looks old. You can paint anything, okay? Like I was gonna paint the podium to match that new furniture. I know how to do that kind of stuff.
Okay, because that
So-
was done by the industrial arts class.
So to make that match, if we want it to match, there's a technique you can use to make it look exactly like the furniture slab that we picked out. I was just looking at from a more, when I look at other city halls and see how it's nice and consistently looking, pleasing to the eye, everything matches. Right now, we have 3 totally different looks of color and furniture. None of it matches the floors. It's kind of a visual thing. And that's why I picked that particular, and I have a picture of it and show it to you. It looks kind of like that. There's a variety of finishes you could pick out. It's just I thought that would be most attractive against, because these floors to me are the statement piece in here from a design perspective because of their beauty. I mean, they look amazing. The other furniture is a lot more streamlined looking. It's more flexible for use, that you can convert it into a variety of things. Even this up here can be converted into table space, table usage versus just this piece. And this thing takes up a fair amount of space.
What's going to happen to all the storage behind us?
That's what I
We're,
have a problem
we're
with.
trying to find a home for that. So that needs to find a home while we look at ideas for a museum for the Heritage Commission. Ideally, it would go in their museum for them to pull it all out so the public can see it. We want the public to be able to see all the stuff that we have in those cabinets. It's now located in about 3 places in the city. So it's not doing anything sitting here, that's for sure. So we'll see where that goes down the road. So can I get a motion then on, we want to get 3 quotes, and I don't disagree with that at all. So we can really see what other people say, and maybe we look at buying the chairs completely separate, somewhere a lot cheaper, like in a big bulk out of office that went out of business or something, I don't know. But, or we keep these chairs, But yeah, I'm fine with us doing that.
So I move that we table this item until the February council meeting, and we look for 3 different options of various different furniture, and that we focus on just the council meeting room.
Okay.
Second.
Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, guys, thanks for the discussion on that.
Thank you for listening to us, and yes,
Yeah, no,
I appreciate it.
no, I appreciate all the discussion. Next is to adopt the legislative priorities for 2025. We did talk about this during a workshop, I think back in December, of what our priorities are from the county, that we go to the county and then they go to the state and, try to support us on initiatives that we have that we're looking at. And so we did identify during the workshop 5 important priorities that we wanted to present, which we traveled last week. Charlie and I traveled to the meeting there in Green Cove and met with Senator Bradley and Representatives Garrison and Sapp. And basically I presented these 5 areas. And I guess what we're trying to do tonight is to agree that we're moving forward with these. Is that correct, Charlie?
Well, I put in 2 options. Mr. Brown, a week or 2 after the December 9th meeting, came by, told me he liked the original one that I had proposed.
Oh.
In that December 9th workshop, we had other discussion. Councilman Lewandowski talked about adding the Geneva restoration, making that our #1 priority. In further discussions with the airport, which obviously the city owns, they have an appropriations request with their legislator out of Bradford County, Representative Branyan, to do a connector road. That's about a $4.6 million project. And you guys were given a feasibility study back in April of 2024 to bring CCUA water and sewer to the airport, which will be a $15 to $20 million project. So that's items 2 and 3. And then items 4 and 5, Colonel Booth went over with you guys last Monday night, some sidewalk, road drainage, those kind of improvements. So I think this is much more inclusive of what I have understood that you guys agree on.
When you were presenting this, Mayor, did the panel show any interest in, more interest in the one than the others? I'm trying to spit
They didn't
out.
really say anything that I remember.
They just-
They didn't question anything.
Right, okay.
I think we were pretty clear. I kept
Yeah.
it just pretty much what you see
Well,
here.
they were very clear. Representative Sapp was the chair of the legislative
Yeah.
delegation, that was their initial intake. So we're hitting it on them. And I've had our front desk make reservations for every Tuesday and Wednesday night for me in Tallahassee. And we'll evaluate week by week when they come out with their committee schedules. And Representative Sapp's assistant, Ms. Steele, who's still there. She's been there the last 8 years with Representative Payne. So I'm just going to track this, and to the extent that I can, try to influence whatever you guys adopt.
The Lake Geneva project, my request, I appreciate you putting that on the list. This is not about the money.
No.
This is about legislative support for what is right to do about our lakes. And so I just didn't want to lose that. And make sure that our elected Tallahassee leaders understand that this is really important to our community, but it's also important to the aquifer and all of North Florida. And so anything you can do when you're in Tallahassee to just share that message over and over and over again, keep this project moving forward, and reestablish the entire Etonia chain of lakes. My understanding now, I can't believe this, but my latest understanding is that when Lake Geneva gets to its high point, 102.9 feet, or just slightly above that, I think it's slightly above that, they're going to turn off the pipe. And they're not going to let it flow like it naturally has for centuries to Oldfield Pond. And that's just not right. It needs, the chain of lakes needs to go all the way. And so whatever we can do to, I'm going to say, do the right thing with how this water flows, please emphasize that. And when you go up to Tallahassee.
I agree.
This is Save Our Lakes meeting tomorrow night.
Yep.
Thank you.
So Ms.
And-
That would
Vivian,
be a good meeting to attend.
yeah. Ms. Vivian was at the legislative presentations that she was going to speak during she had a period of time on the agenda to speak about the Geneva project. So we didn't stay for that because we had to get back for this meeting here. But I strongly recommend going to the meeting and talking to them.
Yeah, pretty much anything they say I support. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
They really do. And then I'll just say something that I said at our workshop. And Florida's a home rule state, which means the cities are more important than the county. Basically, am I saying that right? A municipality is more important than,
I don't know that they're more important. They both exercise home rule. So the concept is that we should have the ability to govern ourselves without preemption from any level above. So
Okay.
traditionally, when you're dealing with legislative session, you're talking about state preemptions.
okay. And so I don't want us, and I don't think the county will do this, but just in case, I don't want us to kowtow to the county. If we have a priority and they don't want to put it on their list, then we go directly to Representative Sapp. We go directly to Senator Bradley. And we can even do that on our own. We don't have to go through the county.
That's correct.
And so I just want to emphasize that to our leadership, both at City Hall and on the council. You know, if there's something that you find important, heck, drive up to Tallahassee. Make an appointment with Judson. Make an appointment with Miss Bradley. You can do that.
You could bypass the chain of command.
Yes, you can
Wait, there-
completely bypass the county.
So
Wait, that's not a chain of command.
yeah.
No, it's not.
No,
No.
no, you're able to go to your legislators
Oh,
directly.
those are our, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We're constituents
go
to them.
direct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm under no disillusion that I have to ask the county commission what I want to ask for the city.
Great, great. So.
What I did share with you is that the county was going to have a list of about 20 things, and they were going to add ours to theirs in support of us. So I wanted to keep it a little less lengthy, but that's not the only list, and that's certainly not the only conversation I intend to have.
Yes, and and I thank you for that. And I think the county is truly trying to help us. I don't think they're doing anything nefarious, but maybe they don't feel the same way we do about something. Maybe stuff ends up really low on their list for whatever reason, and we feel like we're not being represented. You know, I just want us to all say, we can do what we feel like we need to do. We don't have to go through the county. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So we didn't have to vote on this, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like you to, after all
Yeah.
this discussion,
After all this
if somebody
discussion,
make a motion to support the
Right, that's what I-
five item list, I'd feel a lot better about it.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. 5-0. Okay, next, so we have 2 members of our staff that are due for their performance evaluations. It's already been a year for Ms. Stephanie here as of December 18th, and then a year for Charlie, January 8th, right? Something like that, 9th?
11.
9th, 11th, something like that. So Vice Mayor Chris and I, and we sat down with each of them and did separate workshops last year to go over creating a performance evaluation for them that's specific to their roles. And I used one for standardized purposes that I found out of Atlantic Beach that Mr. Commando was involved in the creation, as it turned out to be, and then just critiqued it or customized it specific to their jobs. But on top of that, in all fairness, we wanted to take documents and compare duties and looked at the ordinance as it's called out for city clerk and for city manager, looked at the job description and all the different responsibilities, right, on each one of these 3 areas for reference. So it was the ordinance, it was the job description that they actually applied for the job, it was also their contract and what they signed off to commit to do. And then we put that all together and looked at it and sat down and chatted with them and confirmed it, and then came up with the performance evaluation document, which is about a total of 6 or 7 pages long. And so we approved, I think, yours for the city clerk, months ago, I think, and then finally got together, finished up with Charlie's, and he's had a chance to look at it as well. And basically, the way it's going to work is, and we'll look at the Charlie's because I know we haven't talked about that one yet. But ideally, on the formatting, because we have to each evaluate each one of them, okay? And because it's 5 opinions, and they're graded, and there's comments, space for comments and improvements, or et cetera, or what you're doing great, or whatever. So what we're doing is using someone who's non-biased to remove that and ask Mr. Commando to take those evaluations and add them up and average them so that we have one score. And then we make an appointment with that person to review the evaluation, have them also do a self-assessment, just like I'm sure many of you have been through performance reviews. And then, we tell them, we review it with them, and it's done publicly typically. So it's a little bit of a process, right? So you think about 5 people, we get it to him, we get it to you. So what I did was I came up with a timeline based on their start dates and whatnot. So for Ms. Silva, and you all have it in your packets, so as of January, it was last week we were supposed to talk about it, so we had to move it to today. So the PE guidelines, which I just mentioned, we complete her assessment, the 5 of us. Average your total scores each page, each item is averaged per category, and then you take those scores and average them. It's a very simple document. Sign and date each page. It's a very kind of legal document, I will say, because of all the different hands that are played in it. So that's January 6th. You all get that document, and by February 3rd's meeting, you have submitted this document to Mr. Commando. And at that time, he will take it and average the scores from the 5 council members, and then all narrative evaluations will also be shared with the employee at the time of the performance review. March 3rd is we're going to schedule and deliver the review. I will look at it. There are some where we can do a private review. That's also possibly an option. I'll look into that, Rich. I think I've seen that you can do that as well. It's all out of respect for the employee, because it's like, I feel like anytime you get a performance review, it really should be between you and your managers and not the world, Even whether it's all good or all bad, it doesn't matter. I think in all fairness, that's how it should be done. The employee will give us their self-assessment, we can talk and confer, but with the clerk, the date is, it would be completed by the 31st of March.
I've already turned in, not yet, that you're asking, my self-assessment is already with Mr. Commando.
Perfect. And then with Charlie's, his is the first, so with Steph, it's January 6th. We've talked about what we're doing. And then, and again, we would submit Charlie's in March. So you're just really 1 month behind is what it'll help. Same exact process. And then we'll do your performance review by no later than, I think it said April 14th. I know our April meeting's kind of weird or something. That's why I have the date here, I think.
It's because of the election.
That's right. So we had to move it out. So I decided that we would try to do yours either by maybe May 15th or the end of May. Because of that, it took up 2 weeks or something.
And we're going to have
over
the
time.
supervisor of elections in here
Correct.
set up for,
Okay, for the election thing. Okay. I knew I looked at the calendar and saw it somewhere, but any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so we're doing, the manager first or the,
No, we're doing Stephanie. Here, you
Stephanie's
want-
first?
Hand him copies of that. He can have those.
Yeah.
We're doing Stephanie's first.
okay. All right, and then you got,
And you haven't seen Charlie's PE yet as part of our handout. Because we haven't agreed that we're okay with it.
is there any way, because I'm leaving, so I won't be here on
Okay.
the 14th.
So that means we'll have 4 evaluations, I guess. Is that right?
Or you could do one.
Well, you could still do it before you leave, and we'll just hold on to it.
Okay.
Because honestly, Tony, it's till the end of January, or January 9th for you, right?
yes, as of
So you can go ahead and do
January
it, and then we just give it to Rich until we do his evaluation.
Okay.
I'm glad, thanks for bringing that up, yeah.
We
Because
could
you were
just
here
wait
for
and
the
let
whole
the
time.
guy that replaces you do it and he's never worked with you.
We get all 5s, right?
No,
First thing you gotta do is evaluate
Well,
this
I was
guy's
trying to be
stupid.
accommodating,
Right.
but yeah, I think that's totally fine that you do that.
Okay.
But I just put those dates together because I didn't want y'all to feel like, oh God, I got to do 2 of these at one time, because it's kind of involved.
Oh, yeah.
And, so, and with the evaluations, these are very important documents to the employee. I mean, for me personally, I've had probably over 50 of them done on me. And it's a time for you to applaud all the efforts, but it's also a time for you to give advice on what you can improve upon. So I'm going to ask if you put a grade 5 for any of the core competencies, the list of items in a particular grading, that you give an example of why you're giving that 5.
gave
Like what
myself
what the event was, or what the thing was that person did. Because that means that they are perfect. There's no room for improvement when you give a 5. And, so there needs to be, when I do something like this, I will put an entire day into it. I take notes throughout the year on things that people do well and things that they don't do well. And I try to give that constructive feedback, in both ways. And give them a chance to respond to it or whatever, But it's an important document because this carries with you forever. I mean, for your next jobs or whatever you may wind up doing. So I do put a lot of time into something like this, not something I just go and just check it off and send it on. And it should be that you all, it's a Word document, you should be able to go in, enter your grades, even enter your narrative discussions, because there's room here to make comments on certain, and all of this is the same on each one. It's just specific to their roles. But you can go in and do that and save it as the Word, and it won't change anything. It shouldn't change anything on the layout or whatever. Okay? Any questions?
The only problem I have about evaluating somebody I've never done the job. When I started out my naval career, I worked my way up. I knew my rating. I could evaluate anybody that worked for me because basically I was a master at it by the time before I retired. Mm-hmm. Even when I drove a tugboat and training somebody, evaluated them, I'd done that job.
Right.
When I retired, then I worked at another company and worked myself up to a district manager. I could evaluate those guys. I was never a clerk or a manager. I don't plan on them. that's the only problem for me having to do a serious evaluation, because that's the way I was taught.
Well, so I've never been a
Yeah.
clerk or manager either. Most of the people that I've evaluated, I've not necessarily done their job.
Right.
So it is tough, you're right.
But I never had a problem. They always have my answers whenever I come in during the day or something, so I can only give a good
But see,
grade.
that's their job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
So
I
you
only
gotta-
can give them a good grade.
Right. Well, but you've got to look at each entry, and there's some areas that you may be great on, and maybe you want to ask them an update, say, so how are things in this area? You're certainly welcome to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And Councilman, maybe I can help. You know, when you hire somebody, you have a set of expectations on what the individual is going to do in the particular job. Your evaluation is, are they meeting your expectations?
Yeah, they are. I didn't hire them, but they're always there for me, you know.
We did hire them. Maybe you weren't here, but we did hire them, actually.
He wasn't here.
He wasn't here yet, yeah.
And also, please just be cognizant that any notes or comments you make, they're all public record. So even though you're doing them individually, they're all subject to disclosure by the public.
Yeah. And then moving on to the next thing on the agenda was Charlie's performance evaluation, that I went and took all of our notes from our workshop and
Madam
created.
Mayor, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but did you guys want to vote to adopt the timelines?
Are you talking about them all as one thing, or do you want to go through the?
Well, the timeline was one thing, and then we had not really approved Charlie's yet, so do we need to approve that separate?
Is there just consensus? Is there any objection to the timeline that the mayor's laid out?
No.
Mayor's done a great job.
Perfect.
No.
That's enough.
I don't have any problems.
Thank you.
Okay. So then next with Charlie's,
Is the evaluation tool?
yeah. Did you all get a chance to look at it? Do you have any input to change it, or any thoughts, or you good with it? And I really did it the same as what we did with Stephanie's essentially.
I
except
think
for-
we need to use it this year,
Hmm?
as it is.
Okay,
And
and we
then-
may be able to change it.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
This is our first time doing this, so.
Exactly. Just, let's try
We're
it.
starting from scratch, so, okay. All right, so can I get a motion?
I'll move that we adopt the proposed evaluation form for the city manager.
Okay.
A second. Excuse me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that, Madam Mayor.
Oh, I had some help. We put a lot of work into this.
Okay.
Probably about 4 or 5 hours at least, maybe longer than that.
Okay.
Okay, next is comprehensive plan update.
This was something I asked to have put on the agenda. It's been almost a year since I first proposed that we develop an ad hoc working group to develop a strategic plan since comprehensive plan. In the last 11 months, I've learned that this is not just a nice to have, this is a Florida statute requirement, and we haven't had one since 2011, and we should have had at least 2 since then. And so we are in, I don't want to say violation, but we are in non-compliance at the very least with Florida statutes. And so, as our consultant said during the working group, we do not have to have this strategic plan in place to work on the comprehensive plan. We can do them together. And so I would like to make a motion, and then let's have some discussion about, by next meeting in February, that one of us, and if nobody else wants to, I'll do it, one of us develop an outline for the comprehensive plan. And there are other plans out there. There are state requirements for what the comprehensive plan must include. And I've been through that stuff, and I've actually started to write some of that stuff. And so my motion is that by the next meeting, whoever we choose here, develop and present an outline for the Keystone Heights Comprehensive Plan. I want to get this rolling.
Second.
Second, okay.
All in favor?
Question?
Or any comments?
Discussion?
No, but I choose you, Dan.
You just
That's what I
volunteered.
was thinking the
There's
same
nobody
thing.
on
You already
this
started
panel
it.
any better than you.
I just don't want to assume that, but I'm ready to go. But I'm not going to assume it. It's, it's our joint
It is
choice.
a joint choice.
But just so we're clear, we have a comprehensive plan. I mean, the way you're talking made it sound like we don't have.
From 2011.
Right, but you still have a comprehensive plan.
Okay.
It just requires what's called an EAR amendment, the evaluation and appraisal report, to review consistency with the city's vision.
Just needs updated.
Okay. Well, that could make it all easier to complete.
Yeah.
So, Tony, you made a second, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Good job.
Okay.
So we'll look forward to that.
I will bring you an outline next meeting.
Okay. Next, we have the Garden Club of Keystone Heights.
Good afternoon, evening. I'm representing the Garden Club of the Lakes. It was founded and became a federation, joined the Federation of Garden Clubs of the United States in 1959. So for the last 66 years, we've been a part of this community and helped in beautifying it in many, many ways. I'm only a new person, and I'm chairman of the Arbor Club, the Arbor Day that we are going to plant a tree. I went all over the place. I am also a master gardener. I'm Elizabeth Summers. And I got and purchased a $200 tree for $100 with that discount and our certification as a nursery. And I've come before this kind council to ask for a $100 reimbursement for the tree that we are planting. It's a beautiful magnolia in our nature park on Friday at 11 a.m. And I'm sorry, Miss Nina will not be available. She was last year, but we've asked if someone would be so kind as to read the proclamation at that time. This also is our centennial year, so we're kind of bringing it together and hope we could celebrate both the Garden Club and us planting this tree. And then I picked this tree because we'll all see it bloom and grow. Originally, I was thinking of a live oak, but none of us would have seen it. And some of the information I got, it could have gotten cut down and all kind of various things. This tree is about 8 or 9 feet tall. It's in a 30-gallon tub, and Bo has assured me that he'd be able to get it down. I'm going to drive the trailer over there and plant it, or he's going to plant it. I'm just the driver. And I hope that all of you would attend, but I personally paid for the tree, but I do have a backup plan, but I thought I'd come to the council with Charlie's advice and help. He has guided me through this process.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I ask that you repeat what date and time and location this is going to be for me one more time?
Nature Park, it's marked with a pink stake. It's 11 a.m.
On
Across the
Friday.
street.
on Friday.
Across the street, right?
Yes.
Thank
And
you very
I-
much.
You're welcome. And I have the receipt.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
In the past, the city council has always worked with the Garden Club, and they've done a lot of work in our nature park and other places in the city. I make a motion that we reimburse the $100.
I second that.
Any comments? Get a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Thank
carries.
you.
Thank you for what you do for our city. Greatly appreciate it.
Oh, well,
So
thank
the
you.
next question is,
Oh,
can
we'll
somebody?
miss you.
I can. I'll be
Oh,
there.
thank
Vice
you.
Mayor,
Will you?
yes.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll be
Appreciate it.
there.
I gave the
I'm gonna try
young
to be
lady
there. I got a
an
doctor.
idea of the proclamation, so if you want to change it, that's fine, but it's similar to what Ms. Nina read last year.
Okay, I can do that.
So,
It's very cool.
before you leave, are you familiar with our moon tree?
I am.
Are you familiar with the effort to do the child of Moon Tree?
No.
Okay. So I believe it's a person at Ace Hardware?
Trying to propagate them.
Yes. So they took some branches and whatever else they need, and they are working on growing, propagating is the biological or botanist term or whatever, and so that we have a child of the moon tree.
Okay.
And so nobody's decided where it's going to go or anything about that right now. It's just growing somewhere. But eventually, we're gonna have to figure that out. And I think this would be something the garden club could help us with. So just share that with you. That's all I'm
I'd
doing.
be happy to.
Just an idea. Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Who do I give this?
You can give it to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we're doing good, guys. Council comments. Tony?
I really enjoyed the concert the other night. I left before it was over because I forgot my jacket. But I could still hear it all the way to the red light. So it was very good. I like that kind of music, and I look forward to, more concerts and stuff. I was going to give a speech tonight, but I think I'm going to have to wait for another month or so.
Farewell, goodbye.
Yeah, adios amigos, all that stuff. That's all I have.
Thanks, Tony. Dan?
I want to add my support. I arrived late, like 8 o'clock, but I stayed there till it closed down at 9. Cross Country, I believe, was the name of the band.
Cross Creek.
Cross Creek.
Cross Creek, that was it, Cross Creek. If we can get them back, they were great. I really appreciate that. But it was cold. There was only 10 of us there at the end.
You must have had a jacket.
It was very.
I did have a jacket. I came with a jacket. And I would ask, give us some more options for food trucks. There was only one food truck there. And, even just 2 trucks or 3 trucks would be plenty. It all depends too if we have enough people to support that, but it'd be nice to have options. And then the only other thing I have is I'd like to remind, especially perhaps some of you in the audience, that the week of January 27th through the 31st is the qualifying week. It's for candidates to replace our departing council members. Now, the 2 that are up for re-election are Councilman Brown and Councilman Thompson, and Councilwoman Thompson. And I don't know that they're leaving, and I'm not saying anybody should replace them. I really enjoy working with both of them, and if they want to stay, please stay. But I know Councilman Brown has been verbally saying he's leaving us. And so there's an open seat there, and we're looking for a good person to fill it. And so that week, you have to go to Green Cove Springs and get the proper paperwork. They have some really nice people there that are helpful. And you have to turn it in to them by noon on Friday the 31st. And it might take you a couple trips down there to get everything done properly. So don't wait till Friday to try to get this done, because you got to open a bank account, and it's not something you can just get done in 30 minutes. It doesn't work that way. And then we got to have a meeting that afternoon on the 31st.
Yes, sir.
So 3 o'clock, is that what the plan is?
That's on the proclamation y'all voted on
Okay.
last Monday.
So I will see my fellow council members, who I very much enjoy, on the 31st again.
You done? Are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I would just like to say, since we have not had any comments about the gala was awesome. I don't know.
It was awesome.
It was
was.
beautiful.
It was.
It was so much fun. The food was great. We had Johnny's there, Cedar River, all local people. It was awesome. The music was wonderful. It was a great event, and I totally enjoyed myself. But I also enjoyed myself down at the beach Friday night. We had some live band. I don't know if anybody here was there. I don't remember seeing anybody there on Friday night, but I walked around and spoke to a lot of people that I'd never met before. And they were so happy to have it down there. Even, it was cold, yes, it was very cold. But the music was awesome. It was a beautiful venue, being on the lake, plenty of seating, no problem. I hope that we can have more of that in Keystone. It not only is music a unifier, it brings our citizens together. And you go out and you meet your neighbor that you probably would never see or meet in any other place. So, I mean, I think that it was a good event. I thank Keystone and everybody in City Hall who put that together. It was awesome. I am running again. I'm not leaving. I don't want to leave, but I am running again. And because I really have a lot of fun, and I love my city, and I've been here 54 years. So, spent a long time here. So I would love to stay here. I'm done.
The gala was great. The work that went into that and everything that people done was unreal. I can't believe we could get pictures taken there too, so.
That's great. Yeah.
The music last night, or last Friday, was outstanding. I left an hour early because my puppy was getting on my nerves. She kept jumping around. So.
Being a bad child.
Not terrible, but jumping around, so. But then I went home and I still could listen to it, so.
Yeah.
It was great. Christmas market and all that was great. The work everybody's putting in. So you definitely got fours for me, guys, you know. That's all I got.
Thank you, guys. Really, I mean, I guess it's since November, we had our last meeting before the January. But I did attend the tree lighting in the park. We were able to get the city businesses and civic groups to do a tree in the park, and all they do is we provide the tree, and then they come in and they decorate it with their theme or whatever, and we gave out awards. It was quite a process to get them, you know, to follow up with all the details. I think we have a few that still have to claim their stuff from the trees, but I think it was a great thing for the community. What was really amazing that night was a beautiful night, but we had a gentleman there play saxophone and all these Christmas songs. And it was just an amazing experience. All these people walking around, checking out the trees. Santa was there. It was a great night overall. It was cold then too. It was. And then I attended the Florida League of Cities meeting in Orlando for the Florida League of Mayors meeting. But I primarily went because I am now on the board with the Learning and Training Board for the state of Florida. So it's going to allow me to be able to be part of the training materials that they use for all of us that we use throughout the year to stay on board with what they want us to do. And it gives us also different types of, like, you know, when I heard about the communications group, it was a 1-hour call that I was on with them, and they talk about resources for us that we can use and bring into our city. Or I watch these presentations given that I can reach out to that person. When I did the VA breakfast, I learned about the benefits that were offered to our vets, right? So that gave me the idea to let's have a breakfast for these guys and share their benefits with them, which many of them are not aware of. Florida's benefits are a little more elevated than the rest of the country. So had a great turnout. We're going to do it again. But these are where I get ideas, and I have some ideas for this year that I want to bring to the community that I think will be something that citizens would enjoy. So that's a good reason why I attend these meetings and really get engaged in them. Also, I went to the Rotary meeting and gave them some updates on things that we did this year, the corner, stuff going on with that, to a variety of other things that we have planned. I was at the welcome ceremony for the Wreaths Across America, provided a speech for them that day, welcome speech. Also, we were in the parade. My son was the Grinch that was walking around, that was everybody loves. I hosted Our House, which is the Lawrence home, for the home tour. They had over 150 tickets that they sold. So we had these folks in town. We had people from California come through my house. So we're here visiting family for Christmas. So, and I asked a lot of them questions. I was in my shed, my little she shed, giving out cookies and hot cider. But I asked them, you know, what they thought of our town. I asked them what they thought about the tour. There were 6 homes on it, and they were all within walking area. Just overwhelmed. They just loved it. They said it was just a great experience, and they really hope that we do this again. Also, I did give a welcome speech at the gala. Hats off to that entire team. Friends of Keystone just killed themselves in this event. Over 160 tickets were sold. It was a sit-down dinner with the vendors of being, like Chris said, it was Brooklyn Boys. It was lost for words here. Cedar River and Johnny's.
And Country Caterers did the desserts.
And that's right. And we had these amazing cookies that she made with the Centennial emblem from our bakery here that were beautiful. So just a really delightful kind of a foo-foo event where everybody got dressed up. Some people didn't get dressed up, which was fine. But I think everyone had a great time. I'm very proud of our city for the turnout and support. Also, last week, presented our legislative priorities to the county representatives for the state. And certainly we'll see how things go there. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster, so to speak. That's all from me.
Can I add something to what you said?
Sure.
Florida League of Cities,
Yes.
they offer every council person classes.
Yep.
First class I took was in '96, and the lady that taught it just retired from League of Cities. But I highly
met
recommend.
her.
She's full of information.
Wonderful lady.
I highly recommend for you guys to take classes. I've taken them all that I know of.
You don't pay for them.
You don't pay for
They
them.
send you the email and you just say
Yeah.
you'll be it, and you sit at your home and look at the computer, or you listen to them speak.
Oh, they do it that way now, huh?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
They make
I'm
use of
way
the
behind.
I mean,
I used to
done probably
saddle up the horse and take off.
Been a long time.
Yeah, you all should be getting the emails, because you're in the system, I think, right? You should be getting the emails, and all you gotta do is say you wanna be on it, and they'll send you the calendar invite and the link, and you just sit in on it. You don't even talk or anything, you listen to all the questions and
But
things.
those are good classes.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we have now like almost 45 on the board now to do that. That was pretty interesting. Okay, so next is our city clerk report.
Okay. So I don't have much on my list. You guys know I went to the FACC/IIMC conferences, and I now, after a year, have figured out the difference. And you guys probably know at face value. FACC is only the Florida clerks, whereas the IIMC is the globe. I got to meet clerks from Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina. One flew in from England to talk to us, believe it or not, which is pretty cool. There are only probably 5,000 of us in acting clerk order today. So I didn't know if you guys knew how limited that was. I thought that was kind of cool. We are also the longest profession for this, not the longest profession. You know.
Okay?
The longest municipal. The longest municipal. Let me clarify. I'm glad y'all got a good laugh. Glad you guys got a good laugh. Anyway, I stole that from one of my instructors. They tied it. It was wonderful. I thought it was a funny joke. Anyway, so my ask of council today is I would really love to continue on my education. The IIMC conference is coming up in April. It is in St. Louis, Missouri. My ask is to go, and the reason why is this is the only conference throughout the year that is interchangeable between experience and education points. If you want to look on my, I didn't print it out. Yes, I did. Oh, look at me being proactive. If you look at the list, or actually it's on my evaluation, I'm over halfway to the experience points. I believe I'm 44 out of 60 for experience.
Is that for experience or for the classes?
Oh, I'm sorry, for education, and 42 out of 60 for the experience. So allowing me to go to the IIMC would earn me 10 more experience points, which is equal to 3 years of working in the city.
Okay, let me clarify on the points. So I know the criteria is 60 for the education module and 50 for the experience. That's what the website says.
I would have
110 total.
print it out, but it's in my evaluation that you guys will all get.
Yeah, so, and the 50 has to do with your,
Experience.
correct. And I'm getting some more clarification on that detail. But on the 60 educational, it's actually points toward education modules.
Right,
meaning
it's the CEUs.
CEUs, exactly. So how many did you say you had on the education side?
Let me see if I can pull it up exactly. I didn't print it
I
off.
want to say you were like 20 or more the last time or something like that.
Do you have that thing that I just
No, she was,
sent you yesterday? Or the evaluation?
You mean yourself, you
for your,
Yeah, because that last page has how many points I've earned.
oh, I
the
see what she wants you to get
self-evaluation.
it to him on. I mean, it's not critical that I know exactly. was
I
just
have the
curious.
exact if he,
I was
just
thinking you
can't
had
find
put
it.
a pretty good chunk, because you've been going to stuff all of this last year.
If I continue the pace I'm going, I am set to apply for my CMC in January of 2026,
Right.
which will be right at my 2-year mark with the IIMC.
Which
and
is the
FACC,
earliest that you could get it.
Which is the earliest.
Right.
So it was my goal to honor my contract and to do it in the time frame and not stretch it out.
Right.
Where is it on
It's the third page. There's a list. It should be like the very last page. It's a spreadsheet. Going right here. It's at the very top of it. I apologize. I'll get that for you somewhere. I've got all the list of classes. I thought I had it
Okay.
with the thing there. I have that information somewhere because I have to track everything because I do have to submit it to the state to get credits for my CEU. Miss Amy Brewer is complicit in all that. I work with her probably bi-weekly. She's the one that's actually trying to help find a mentor for me, which we got an email about last month saying they're having a lot of trouble trying to find somebody to mentor me.
Right. Gotcha.
So when do you need to know that? When do we, how do we do this now, since she wants to go to this class? Do we vote on that?
So,
General consensus?
yes, and so, and really, we have to kind of look at this, not just for this meeting, but you've requested 2 other ones as well, and you've already attended one this year. So when you gave us this sheet, and I don't know, did you guys all see this sheet that that you've requested? You give it all to us, each of us, right? And it's on our packet.
You guys had a copy last week.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and we've had it for a little while. So you're basically asking for 4 conferences for this year that equal $7,200 in total for expenses minimally, based on what you're looking at, your spreadsheets and all that. The 3 of them are in-state, from what I can tell, through Florida's Conference of Clerks.
Yes,
The other one is the IIMC, like you
And
mentioned.
unfortunately, every year that happens in a different state. That's why that's the big ask.
Yeah, I know. So, and that's an international meeting. So essentially, the 4 workshops that you would attend are $7,200 plus 17 days away from work.
And I never take
Which
off.
is-
I was working, you can ask Mr. Van Zant, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I even came in on Friday.
No, I understand all that, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, it's 17 days away from your job in the day-to-day. I wouldn't include weekends or anything like that. So that's like about another $3,000 in salary. I'm totally pro on certification, you know that. But I also look at other options to get the same education. So I do know that the Florida Association for Clerks offers courses.
Online education at $75 a pop,
That
which
is-
is twice as expensive than doing the.
Not in my math, it's not. Not with travel and everything, considering overnight stays.
I'm just
and-
trying to honor my contract.
No, and you are. You have 3 years to get the certification, okay? It's a 3-year contract. And there's no rush to go get certified day 1 in January, okay? It's designed with the courses, and I applaud your efforts in getting all the stuff you did this last year.
I
But-
just apologize. When I got hired, you were very adamant about the education.
I'm still very adamant about.
Pushed it, and
So-
I asked for 3 less conferences this coming year than I did last year. I'm just confused as to, nobody else is doing the education requirement. Nobody has in a decade. So
I'm not trying to make this confrontational.
I-
And it's
I'm
not.
not either.
So what I'm trying to say is, there's other options to get the education that you don't have to travel. And they're online, okay? So I did look at, I've looked at the entire list of what the courses are. There's actually 60 courses offered that are really relative to what you do, in the scope of what you do currently. And they're around $60 to $75 each, which we'll still pay for, but you can do those on your time. And they're it's a 2-hour workshop online, and it's 1 point per class. And I know you said you had so many right now on the education side. On the experience side, I'm going to be working with, and I've already talked to Mr. Hendry about this on the experience side, because I'd like to know, how do they, when I read the thing on the website for the IIMC, it's saying work documentation and referrals from your jobs.
I had HR
But-
write me a letter
Yeah.
and send it to IMC, and you get 2 points per year
Per-
that you work.
is
So I
it-
got 10 points for Alachua County.
Oh, good. I'm glad that applied to it. I didn't know that.
I'm very, 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 very adamant about getting this done.
Well, that's great that they allowed that. I didn't know. He's going to get that detail for me. But, because I want you to be able to make all those qualifications, okay? But I think that we can do it with less time of you being away from the office, and also less expenses for overnight stays and hotels and all that, and flights. So what I'm willing to approve is that you move forward with the remaining education units to do online, and you can divide them up between this year and next year. but, you know, shoot for the, and I don't know, I mean, that's why I was asking how many you had. I thought you said you had around 20 or some, 30 maybe, of the education part. But that, with my dissection of all of this, I think that it can be done a little more efficiently and a little less expensive.
Well, since Stephanie works for all of us.
Right.
Everybody has a say in this.
Yeah, and they should, y'all, I want y'all to weigh in on it.
Tony, do you have anything to say? Or maybe this is not really the time that we should be talking about this. I mean, we could talk, I don't have a problem staying here.
Do you have a
with each one
deadline?
of you.
Do you have a
I-
deadline?
You,
Yes, I need to know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked you when is there a deadline.
And I did speak with each of you a month ago about this, and I got support from all of you. So
I don't
wouldn't
have
say you
a,
got
Not
support.
support, but none of you were negative about it.
Right, okay.
I'm
I
not,
d-
I'm
I
not
don't
being
have a
negative
problem with
either,
it.
so, I'm not being negative.
None of you have ever mentioned travel concerns or anything before, so I'm sorry if I'm just caught off guard.
I have never seen anybody work so diligently to get their education when we've asked them in an interview. This is what we require. Maybe, I mean, my hat's off to you for jumping on the horse and riding it and getting it, a lot of this stuff done the first year you were here, instead of waiting 3 years. My thing is, with the thing in Missouri,
St. Louis.
the only thing is you got on here travel time, and I did voice my opinion about flying. I would rather see if you were to do something like that, or for anybody, if the manager wanted to go somewhere and it's that far, I recommend flying.
oh, absolutely
because,
flying.
I mean,
I understand. However, I was trying to save the city some money because it's not my intention to deplete the city funds for my benefit.
and my thought with you driving your personal vehicle, if something happens, then is the city responsible for fixing it when it's on the road? When you can go to Gainesville, jump on a plane, and you're there in 3 hours.
Yeah.
City Manager Van Zant shared your concerns.
And Missouri's not that far away.
Well, they were mine too, just like I would have for any employee driving that far by
Yeah.
themselves.
Right.
I would always say fly, especially, and Missouri's not that far away. I used to,
It's 1,011 miles, that's where we're from.
oh, thank you.
Wow.
It's a long 2 days.
It's a quick flight
It's
though.
14
My
hours.
fastest ever was 13 hours and 56 minutes.
Yeah, I already mapped it.
That's precise.
And I was, well, my father
To put a
was
point
police
on it.
officer.
We were cruising.
So, thank you, Madam Mayor, for all of your work. That I would agree with you on all counts. I totally support. I wasn't part of your hiring process, so, but definitely all the 3 Florida ones, yes, please go to those. Going to St. Louis for training, I don't think that's a good return on investment.
So is that, I'm sorry, is that class given every year?
It is, but it's not available online.
What class?
And it
The
changes
IMC
location every year.
So-
It's- yeah.
You could put in for it next year to go wherever it's at?
It would be
And you
in
have
North
less?
Carolina or South Carolina, probably end up in the same situation again.
That's closer.
That's closer.
Would it be within the 3 years?
Do what?
You said, I mean, you said she had
Yes.
3 years to
Yeah,
get
she's got
this.
all of
Yeah,
next year,
it'd be
too.
plenty of time.
There's plenty of time. You're just finishing your first year.
I was just
I
trying to
applaud
get
you
that-
for
yes.
your diligence
Yeah.
with getting your
I just
education.
keep getting told that I don't have the experience, and I'm very much trying to check that box.
Sometimes you just gotta wait.
Takes time.
Takes time.
Yep.
Well, I'm
You
all
know,
for,
lots
I'm
going
all
here.
for it, for you going. So,
Okay,
Speedy?
Councilman?
I'm for it going, because meeting the people and you have, you know, you do it on a computer and stuff, you're not meeting them, you're just actually gonna have contacts.
Network.
And, that's the way I look at it.
Okay. So does someone want to make a motion to support her for this or not?
Are we just strictly talking about the St. Louis
I think
We
that's
need a
the,
vote
I
for
think
that.
that's the
Yes.
only one we have a disagreement on.
Do we need, Rich, do we need to vote about this? Okay. I make the
Say something.
motion to allow Stephanie to go to the conference in Missouri.
I'll second motion.
Discussion?
Did you say something?
So, I told you guys last Monday night, and I still intend on bringing you a budget amendment on February 3rd. Because of the way the chart of accounts is laid out for the city, there's a contingency for the city manager, the contingency for the city council. So I need to go back, and we have money. I'm not saying we don't have money, we will have money. But the other implication of this is I'll need to add more to the city manager's contingency. We weren't allowed to add a city clerk line of accounting, according to Ms. Williams, our CPA. And so her and I kind of looked at what we were going to do for this year. When we built the budget, there's a little bit of increase now. And the airport, which you own, has developed these other two priorities. So it's not typical that I go to Tallahassee a lot. But at this point, most of the senators and House representative members that I used to know have all rotated out. They're all term limited to 8 years. So it's just going to be more travel than it was last year is all I'm saying. And so don't be surprised when I ask you to up the city manager contingency, because that's the same line of accounting that Ms. Coleman will reimburse the clerk for her travel out of as well.
Right.
Well, during my years of working for the government in Jacksonville, I went TAD all the time. I mean, they sent me everywhere in the country to learn. And so I don't, and I came back with more experience and better education. So, I mean, I don't see any problem with us letting her go. And I think I think she has shown us that she is willing to learn and to actually enjoy the job. And I think that she deserves it.
And, yeah, go ahead, Dan.
It sounds like you're giving her a reward. She deserves it. We're not
Well, I'm
denying her
not- let me-
training.
let me-
We're
let me,
denying her the most
she's earned
expensive
it.
training.
She's earned that she's shown, all right, well, she's shown me that she wants to learn the job.
I agree. But
So
she doesn't-
deserve is the wrong word, I'm sorry.
She doesn't have to do it in 2 years, is what we're saying.
Right.
We've given her 3 years. Just take the most expensive one, set it aside, take 2.5 years. Don't force it.
If we're willing to spend almost $400 for a chair.
I know. I thought
Give me a
about
break.
that. I thought,
Sorry.
you know,
Chair's a long-term investment, how long is her contract?
3 years. But hopefully she'll stay with us.
Well, yeah.
This is the first city clerk I've ever had since I've been on council.
We're all learning with this process.
Yes, we are.
And listen, my career has been solid on growth and education resources, no different than what Steph's going through right now. I had to get licensures in the nation and in the state. I'm not college educated, but I had to go, and I had to pay all of mine, every one of them. If I got a free trips, because I presented at a workshop. So I'm all about supporting certification. It's just when I look at it, when there's other options, I look at the 15 or so days, 17 days away from her job, when other people got to cover, okay? And we have a great team here, and people are not complaining or nothing like that. It's just that person's out of the office. And these folks in this office have multifaceted skills to support each other, to work as a team. The other thing I look at is, it's away. So you got travel, you got overnight. It's either going to be a flight or driving. Flight was about $500 less money to fly versus drive because you're paying mileage. When you can get almost everything you need under the state umbrella online. I'm not saying you don't necessarily need to go to an occasional one for connecting with other people, because that also helps you grow. But this is my request I'm looking at is for the entire year, 4 separate events, not just this one. And this one is the most expensive, but I feel like you still have 2 years to work on that certification. And There's no need to go and get it all done in the second year of your work situation. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. I just think it's a better use of time. I think you can still get the same thing done. And yeah, maybe you need to go to one of those big ones because that course is not offered. But when I looked at the curriculum for those courses that are offered in St. Louis, there was a lot of them that weren't even relative to what you do. And things like training people, leading like the city in a variety of roles, like it was more of a leadership type. There were some that applied, I'm not disagreeing with that, but many of them were not. So it's for folks that maybe are the city clerk and they're the city manager also. So it just seemed like, and I'm not saying that there's not some that didn't apply, because you're trying to go for the whole week.
That's perfectly fine, but I need you to clarify on everybody covers when I'm gone. The only thing that got covered was who sat in my seat during the meeting. I did all of my work. I was up until 8:30, 9 p.m. every night fixing things, adjusting Agenda Plus, taking care of things, redoing things.
Who does, so Steph, I'm not trying to ask what you do every
It's
minute.
just every time that's been mentioned 3 or 4 meetings that I have backup. I would love to have backup. Be great. But
So
I don't.
who handles things if
I
somebody
check my
comes?
emails and I get phone calls and
I'm just saying, you're another person and part of the team here in the building, and everybody works together to support everyone, okay? Nobody else is out those many days doing stuff for their education. I'm just trying to be reasonable in what I think we can still get the same thing accomplished, and you still get your certification in the period of time you're wanting to try to get it. I'm just looking at it from a feasibility perspective.
I understand that. It's just hurtful when you say I have, or somebody's covering for me when they're not.
I'm not going to get into that discussion, but it's just
I will
my
say,
view.
Mayor, I will say that when she does go on these classes, I think you were Orlando a lot, is where a lot of them are. She is doing, I mean, some of this stuff is right before we have a council meeting, and there is nobody in here that's qualified or is responsible to do preparation for a meeting in the way of the minutes and all this other stuff that has to be in there. So she is doing that stuff at night and whenever she's, not in the class. She has the opportunity to do that. And I know previous people that have worked here, they've done the same thing. I mean, not as much as she has, because she is a go-getter in the way of education. And if I remember right, that's been one of the biggest things that this group and groups in the past have always been about, is get your education, get more learning. And that's why I said you guys need to get on the Florida League of Cities and do some classes and learn how to be a city council person and what we're responsible for.
Which we can also do online.
Well,
I'm not saying I'm not
apparently
denying you
they're
get
doing it now.
education.
I can tell you, I can't do a class online. I'm a in the group kind of thing. When we did Zoom meetings during COVID, oh, that was ridiculous. So.
I agree with you, Tony. She was working when she was at that conference, and she could have just gone down there and said, "Oh, I'm going to party at night with all the other people in the conference. I'm going to go out to, and have dinner with everybody." But she was working.
In fact, Thursday morning, I got a call during my class because the alarms were going off in the building and I had to disable them. So I'm always available.
I called.
Isn't there anybody else in City Hall that can take care of an alarm without calling you at a conference?
I'm not certain who has the app on their phone.
Well,
I know I have the app.
that's
so-
got to be fixed.
ADT called me as well. That is not me tasking her.
No.
That
I
is
didn't
the
say
security company. They call all kinds of numbers. They call
They probably
Mr.
call
Brown
so- calls
sometimes. They
Layton's
call people that don't work here
Well, they
anymore.
call me 'cause I don't know what
I just want to say, even though I'm in those meetings, Keystone Heights is my priority, and I answer every call when they call me. Every call I walk out. Every time Mr. Van Zandt emailed me and needed something, I made it happen. I've never missed anything, never been late on minutes.
Thank you for letting this gentleman out of the bathroom out here. that night.
Absolutely.
He answered the phone.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
So I understand the concern of being out 17 days. I understand that, but the fact is I've proved to this council for the entire year that I can do that and still carry on my job. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'll call for the vote.
Well, so
We got 10 minutes.
if we're going to vote on the one coming up, and then we still have two others that I guess we'll vote on at that time. There's two others that you're requesting this year.
What was her motion?
The motion was to approve the one coming up, what is it, April or May? Let's see, it's May 18th through 21st. That is $3,200, 5 days being gone from work. So you have a motion on the table for that?
I did.
Any other comments?
You seconded,
And you
right?
seconded it?
I do think that that trip should be flown because that gives you 2 days that you're not traveling.
Two
That-
less hotel
plus-
rooms, too.
Plus, that's right, 2 nights less hotel, and you're not driving. I know I looked up a ticket, it's around $500.
And I'm willing to fly Frontier, which I think, Madam Mayor, is about 300 less. I can fit everything into a backpack.
So be careful with Frontier.
Yeah, I refuse.
I'm gonna warn you on that
willing
one.
to go the cheapest route.
Yeah, so
I'll get with whoever is great.
I'll be happy to talk to you about that because I have flown a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
We need to
but,
vote, finish the vote.
so, but it would be under those conditions for me. And then that's the only one at this point for this year.
I can pay for the other ones myself.
Or you can do them virtually. We'll still support that.
They're not,
Why can't you just, when those are up to go, why don't you just bring that?
The one's coming in July and the other one is in October.
Okay.
So it's like a month after the other one. So I mean, if you want to do them separately, that's fine too. But y'all need to take a hard look at what you're voting on here.
Well, you know, let's go down this road for a minute. I go back, education,
Yeah,
education.
I agree.
Okay, but we said here, the first thing we did, we talked about spending $43,000 on furniture. That's okay.
That's a long term.
So, but I think she comes back for the other two classes when the time comes and asks council.
Okay.
I would argue this goes to perception. Like the furniture by the company that our city manager's wife works for. The perception of that is not good. The perception of needing to go to St. Louis for training, I would say, is not good. Why isn't it good enough here in Florida? Why isn't virtual good enough? Why do you have to go to St. Louis? I know you explained it to us, okay? But all that does is speed up your process. That's the only advantage. And so I think there's a perception problem with that. So that would be my critique, just like you brought up about the furniture.
the only reason I'm in such a rush is because I came before council and asked for a monetary raise, and you all told me I couldn't get that without the education. And I don't make very much, and I have to.
That was not the only reason.
That was not the reason.
No.
No. But you're talking about back in the fall?
You guys told me that with the education, the increases would come, and so that's what I'm trying to do.
When you get certified, as a certified clerk, that will be the big increase. But last year, that was not the reason you came to us with a raise, asking for the raise.
I didn't say that was the reason. I said that's what you guys told me to
That's
do
what
to
you
get me the
told her.
money.
Yeah, we did.
That's not the only reason.
Yeah, we did.
That was one of the reasons. That was not the only
But-
reason.
but-
I know, because I said other
But
reasons.
that's my only reason, Madam Mayor, is to rush it, is to try to get that because yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and you have all of next year to still work on it. That's the earliest that they would do it. That's not our calendar. It's the 3-year process. Because that's a lot to do in 3 years. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot to ask anybody to support, really, in this type of role. I know I got to go to one conference a year, and then I had to figure it out too.
I think a lot of this wouldn't have put me in this if I'd have had guidelines or something, telling me how to do this, but I'm a year in.
I don't disagree at all with that.
Yeah, it's confusing for me. So
It's-
I apologize if I seem unsure, but I mean, I'm a year in and just learning that there's a process that you guys would like me to do this.
Well, since you're the only person in City Hall that's going to and getting educated at this point that we know of, I mean, why not? Because I don't see anybody else asking to go to conferences. Or we haven't been told. So I mean, about anybody else going to conferences.
It comes back to the contract. The contract says that we are going to support the, getting the certification, and that we will look at conferences for education on a one-on-one basis. That's what the contract says. Doesn't say you gotta have it in 2 years or 1 year. It said the contract's a 3-year contract. So
Right.
the idea is, you come uncertified, we would recommend that you get certified, and you're on board with that, which is great. So yeah, we support it, we want you to get it, but it's not like you gotta hurry up and get it. We're, you know, again, your contract expires December of '26. So, you know, you have that period of time to divide this up. And you've got a lot of it done this past year, where you spent several $1,000s on what was done in '25, or, yeah, '24, I'm
And
sorry.
all of those classes were passed. I just got to say that for the public, not one class was failed.
Yeah, and that's great. But, and I applaud that, but that's part of this process. If you're gonna get certified in that role, it's gonna take some time to do it, and a thought process. And, you know, when you can look at other ways of getting the same education, there's really nothing
I'm
wrong with
totally
that.
okay with doing online classes. You'll see in the evaluation, several of them are online, but the conferences are definitely beneficial. But I will do whatever
I don't
the council
disagree with that
pleases.
either, but there's a huge cost element there. And that's the thing I'm looking at, plus the time away from your job. And I appreciate what you do on your time away from here and all that, but you still have a role here, and sometimes there's things you do here that you help out with others, and there's some things that you also do that are not just agenda and minutes and meetings. You have other roles within your scope here that you can't do from afar. So, you know, I'm just saying, being out of the office, that's a lot for 1 year.
We have a vote out.
We do.
We're still waiting.
And what is the condition of the vote for the meeting in May to St. Louis?
We made a motion, there's a second, all we gotta do is vote.
Yes, all we need to do is vote.
Okay, and that's with the idea that she'll be flying. And that means it's probably 2 nights less hotel, depending on the flights, where you can get the flight.
Madam Mayor, would you be comfortable planning that with me?
I'd absolutely love to help you with that.
I've absolutely never said.
Absolutely.
If it passes,
Yeah,
I would need help. I don't know much about that kind of thing.
yeah. All right, any more comments for this particular one, for me? Got a second? Y'all want to take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Dan?
I was waiting for you.
I'm supposed to vote last.
I guess I'll say aye.
Speedy, did you vote?
Aye.
Okay, aye. I will go along with this one only, okay? And I will sit down with you and help you with that.
Absolutely.
Very
This
much
one
would
will,
appreciate.
I will be asking for 10 experience points, which should satisfy what I have left.
Yes, I've already looked at the entire symposium, the website and all, I looked at it. Okay. All right. And I think next is the city
up.
manager's report. My goodness, I can't believe this is.
Hurry up,
2
it's about
hours.
ready to snow up here.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, I will try to be brief. I guess the biggest thing I have to bring before you tonight, if you remember last Monday night, our newly contracted engineering firm, ICE, spent some time prior to the meeting going over some projects with us. I have a scope of work that's a 7-page document, and this is just for the design and some additional surveying, and not all of the design for an ADA compliant ramp to partially use the pieces that are within ADA compliance at the Keystone Beach of the ramp we have, and extend that on down to the little bridge on the kind of the southwest end of the park, where you move over to the swing set area where you see all the little survey flags, to join up with the pier that Solo is building on their own. They asked us to cover the ADA ramp. So the lump sum of a partial design is $54,000 broken down into other aggregates. So we're going to have some more discussion about this, and I will bring this back to you February 3rd. Okay? I say all that to also say this will come out in our discussion with the engineer. I mean, they're working hard like they want to have it ready by the 4th of July because that's when the pier's going to be ready. So if you want to move quickly, it will cost more money. If you don't care when you get done, it will cost less money. And again, anything I bring to you guys, if I'm bringing it on the agenda, that means it's beyond my spending limitations and for your discussion and discretion, and then you give me the go-ahead or the reroute or whatever. So that's one thing. Look for it on February 3rd. Without me just signing and returning it, we might already miss the 4th of July thing. It would be nice to do the ribbon cutting that day. So just between now and February 3rd, share with me how important that is to you, and I'll discern how much more it costs to do it that quickly. But this isn't a $25,000 project. When we had the discussion last week and I proposed putting $40,000 more in the Lakes account, you said come back to me. I knew that we were already going to be short, and we are. And that's not a big deal. You have $919,000 in your CIP fund and almost $800,000 in your general fund. So it can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done. Just kind of think through that if you would. I felt like there was something else all night long. That's why I got up and went back to my office. Oh, date and time of the strategic plan. So you voted to use the Florida Institute of Government. The mayor's going to be less mobile from this Friday for a couple of weeks. So out of the dates they offered us, the one that I think I could get all 5 of you at would be the 19th and 20th of February, which is a Wednesday, Thursday. They had originally proposed Thursday, Friday, and in deference to your teaching schedule, I tried to slide it back a day. They're good with that. So there's not a huge difference in the cost. He went ahead and quoted the high number. It's about $800 less if they only have to stay one night. So that could look like 1 to 5 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon and like 9 or 10 to 1 or 2 on Thursday, depending on how early y'all want to get here. The 19th of February, which is a Wednesday, and the 20th of February, which is a Thursday.
I have an appointment on the 19th.
What time? In the
Well-
afternoon or morning or all day?
Well, we could do 2 morning sessions. We could do an afternoon and the next morning. Is there a time on Wednesday, somewhere on Wednesday that you can accommodate? We could go like 9 to 1, or we could go 1 to 5.
I have, my appointment's early in the morning, so I could do in the afternoon.
So could we
'Cause I have to
say
travel to the appointment.
1 p.m. to approximately 5 p.m. on Wednesday the 19th? If they do that, they would only need, they could come down in the morning, stay one night, do the afternoon, evening, and then the next morning go like 10 to 2 or 9 to 1. Again, this is you guys'
I'd
discretion.
be okay with that. I can make it back in time.
Are
Okay.
y'all good?
I'll do the best I can.
Okay, because you have some challenges, don't you? You think you can make it?
I'll do the best I can.
Speed, you okay?
Right now, I don't know, but I'll do the best I can. I don't have a schedule.
And we can punt. If we're only going to have 3 out of 5, and the whole idea is to have all 5 council members do a strategic plan, I could say, look into March, look into April. I don't want to decelerate. We have some ambition to get a plan done and some sense of urgency.
Well, so, and looking at this, and I know you're supposedly leaving, right, Tony? And so we're supposed to have a new council member in April, most likely. Would it be better that we do it sometime after that time? Instead of trying to get them up to speed, you know?
My preference would be to have the expertise that Tony has and use it as much as we can while we still can.
Okay.
You can invite him back after.
I had that for a contract.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
quick, Tony, that was quick.
That was cool.
That was good to me.
All right, let me rephrase. I'd like to use Tony while he's still free.
So really didn't want to do it before the end of March.
And
Well,
the,
let's just play, I I can do it on, I prefer to have the whole day free, but I mean, if, you know, because I have to travel for my appointment, so I don't want to have to rush. Hopefully, I won't hit any traffic, but.
Well, maybe we could do 2 to 6. That would make it a lot more palatable for me.
Okay.
Are there days that you might have off anyway, that maybe that we can plan with?
The only time that I often have, but not always, is Wednesday mornings. Very often I will have the entire morning off. But that's the only thing. And even then, like last week, I didn't have it off. So it just depends.
So would y'all like to go back to the Thursday afternoon, Friday morning idea if you're gonna have to miss class anyway? And then the vice mayor doesn't have to do
Yeah,
2 big
it's
things in a day?
6 of one, half dozen the other. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I know those dates are available, but that's not the end of the calendar. The earlier ones, I knew for sure the mayor couldn't be here physically. So,
So go to Thursday, Friday then.
okay,
That's fine.
okay.
So,
And at one afternoon and one
Free
morning.
for everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you can make the afternoon like 2 to 6.
Sure.
That would
you're
be-
saying Thursday, right?
Right, Thursday,
20th?
Thursday the
Yes, ma'am.
20th, like 2 to 6, and then Friday morning, 9 to whenever we're done.
Okay.
Okay. And you said it starts at 2, is that what you said? On
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops.
This is gonna sound like a silly question, but is there anything that I should have in this room for that particular meeting that's gonna be useful? I've never,
We'll go over that. He put some of that in his
Okay.
proposal.
Kind
Yeah.
of like we did a workshop.
Those chairs.
We get
Dandy snacks.
yellow stickies, poster boards, tablets to write stuff on.
That would probably be a question for Mr. Henry.
Mr.
Yes.
Van Zant said he has a list.
I would
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, let him. And then on the 21st, it would be the next morning?
Yeah, like 9 a.m. to whenever we're done.
Okay.
And this will be open to the public,
Of course.
so if there's anyone who would like to come and share ideas with
Can I
us.
get my keys out, Charlie?
Sure.
Okay,
And the other thing to add to your January calendar, if you choose to, Vivian with Solo asked for the sanctuary, the main building that seats like 600 people at Trinity Baptist, for a Geneva Restoration meeting, separate from her normal solo meetings. So that's likely going to be Thursday at 7 on January 30th. If you guys want to attend, we're going to try to figure out if it can be live streamed, but
Can you put that on the community calendar, please?
yes, sir.
Thank you.
I just saw some email traffic on that today. She had it earlier in the month, so
Yeah.
I'm going to solidify that date before we put it out there, but
Yeah,
I think that's now the most likely date.
I believe I
It'll
wrote
be
it down.
Thursday the 30th.
Yeah,
Yes,
originally,
ma'am.
I think it was the
At what
27th.
time did you say?
7 p.m.
Okay.
is what I believe. If it's really 6,
Yes,
I'll let you
Mr.
know.
Booth is confirming that.
Okay. Invite all you guys an hour late.
At Trinity Baptist?
Yeah,
Yes,
like someone
ma'am.
calls me Colonel.
Okay, I will stop talking unless y'all have any
Yeah.
questions of me.
And nobody
Mr.
around
Commando?
here that calls me that.
Did you want to know what your dates, the schedule?
For the
There's
street.
in the packet.
Oh, was that an item on the agenda we haven't got to? Oh, I'm so sorry. So you guys, under the city manager report, item 12, I have a list of dates for all the normal meetings, not every festival or 4th of July event, but just for this is my best stab at when the office is open, closed, when we're gonna have meetings of your council, heritage, etc. So if you guys are good with that, that's what we'll update the city website calendar with. And if we add more special meetings, then obviously this will change a little bit.
I apologize, when I put together these dates, the Heritage meeting on the first one is incorrect. I put it as the 14th, that should be the 21st at 6 p.m.
for the one in what, in January?
1/14/25 should be 1/21/25 for the Heritage.
Oh,
Oh,
gotcha.
that's next week. Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
I apologize. It's corrected on the calendar already, but I didn't correct this part. That was an oversight on me.
Okay, great. Okay. Mr. Commando, any comments?
just quickly, so we talked a little bit about legislative priorities. There looks like there's going to be a special session the week of January 27th. If you don't already have these dates, legislative session starts March 4th and will continue to May 2nd. If you don't already have it on your calendar, you may want to put down April 23rd and 24th. That is Clay Day, which we traditionally do attend. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
That was April 23rd and 24th? Thank you.
Yeah, I hope we have some folks go for Clay Day. I cannot go this year, but hopefully some folks will join in and go, attend.
That's very interesting.
What?
That's fun. It's fun, but it gets you into the faces of legislators and stuff like that.
It is. It's a good time to, and in a casual atmosphere.
And you get to meet other
It's,
people.
it's a really good, it's a good experience for sure.
I'll see if I can get a dog sitter and I'll go. I've never been.
Oh, you should
If
go.
I'm,
You probably enjoy it. Yeah. I just, I don't think I can physically handle it. So. All right. That's it, I think, right? All right, guys. I'm sorry it went for 2 hours and 10 minutes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate it.